And we're back. Our next guest is Marta Tullis. She and her husband, Hakchan Ree, they co-authored a phenomenal book entitled Under Five Flags. Marta wasn't able to be with us here today in our studio, so she's joining us via satellite from Littleton, Colorado. Welcome, Marta. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I am doing absolutely fantastic. How's the weather in Colorado today?
It's bright and sunny.
Oh, wow. Wow. I've been to Denver. I'm telling you, that is a beautiful place. Colorado is just absolutely gorgeous. Under Five Flags, you co-authored this with your late husband, Hakchan Ree. Tell me a little bit about Hakchan.
Well, Hakchan he was the bravest person I ever knew. He loved mountain climbing. He was always there to help a friend. He did quite a bit of good in when he was working as a houseboy and assistant medic to the 1st Field Artillery Observation Battalion in Korea.
Mhm.
He was well respected in his field that he acquired after he came to the United States. He was a mechanical engineer who worked in the electronics and aerospace industries and contributed a great deal in those areas.
So, what was your inspiration for writing Under Five Flags? Well, not your inspiration, but you and Akchan's inspiration for writing Under Five Flags.
Well, my husband had a very interesting and, I guess you might say, checkered past in terms of his origins in North Korea, that he managed to come down to South Korea, all the while working for the 1st Artillery Battalion Observation Bureau, and was in that capacity assisting the medics and others to accomplish what was necessary to be accomplished to win the Korean War.
Under Five Flags is a book about his experience and his travels and the leadership within those particular countries. Am I correct?
That is correct. And it provides somewhat of a background of Korean history and the society as it existed at that time. It starts out actually with his grandfather, who was a sharecropper in North Korea, going to Pyongyang, getting work as a watchmaker's assistant, and who eventually became the head of the Pyongyang Water Department.
Mm.
So, which is where Huck grew up, and where many of his experiences were recounted from.
So your late husband. He's actually from Pyongyang, but where are you originally?
I was originally from Illinois,
Okay,
Eastern Illinois.
okay. And so maybe you stated this and I just missed it, but the two of you, how did the two of you meet?
We met at when I was working at Martin Marietta. We were in the same robotics class. They had an evening institute class for people who were interested in robotics, and he and I both took the same class.
Okay, okay. And how long were you married?
28 and a half years.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And so, what's your desire for Under Five Flags? Where are you wanting to see this book go to?
I would like to see this book go to whatever part of the population is interested in understanding how much it is necessary to be strong and capable and continue to work past difficulties to make society better.
And in what way can this book help society become better? What is it suggesting? What is the main message?
Well, the main message is the fact that the spiritual life enables people to reach beyond their circumstances and achieve something greater than where they started.
Okay.
I think that's a message that's very important today, since so many people seem to be um, disheartened or feeling as if somebody owes them something.
This is such a powerful piece of literature, and I'm assuming, correct me if I'm wrong, that one of the messages that you're wanting to relay is the difference between what was and is when it comes to relationship between different people, different countries, different cultures. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, that's correct. I mean, it's important that people learn to observe the golden rule and do whatever is necessary to make society a better place, to treat other people equally, and to work with them to achieve legitimate goals.
hmm hmm Five Flags. Tell me about the flags. This is a beautiful book, I'm telling you. I love the front cover. Tell me about the flags. I see the United States of America. That's one. What are the other four?
Well, the other four are the original Soviet Union flag, which is, of course, the red flag with the hammer and sickle.
Of course.
Another flag is the North Korean flag. Um, then there's the Japanese flag, and then there's the South Korean flag.
And the South Korea. I noticed that almost every flag in the world bears the color red. Have you ever noticed that? Almost every flag everywhere. What do you think that stands for? I don't think there's any particular write up about it or any type of definition that anyone has necessarily established concerning that. But seemingly every flag in the world bears the color red. What do you think that stands for? What does that represent to you?
Well, it represents energy. I mean, the um, life force that causes people to create countries and band together to accomplish things. And for self-protection, there's, an element there of, if you have self-protection, sometimes that requires blood to be shed.
Mm.
So I guess those two things, both energy and the concept of life force and potential bloodshed.
And potential bloodshed. Well, I was thinking along the lines of blood also, but just a bit different. You're speaking of willing to shed blood for your country to protect your country. But I was also thinking along the line of the fact that we all have one color of blood, red. Red runs through all of us. That red blood, we all share the same blood. So seemingly, regardless to what invisible border, because all borders, all state lines, all country borders, they're actually invisible. Every single one of them are invisible. But regardless to what border separates us, regardless to what ocean or lake or whatever separates us, we're all in reality a people, a people. And so I believe that Hakchan did a phenomenal job in expressing that, regardless to where he was or where he traveled. In reality, we're all the same people, and we must find a way to get along with each other, find a common ground. We all have so much in common. If we would just focus on those things, I think this would be a better world. What do you think about that?
Oh, yeah, I think that if people would just recognize their common humanity and recognize that there are things to be done that um, people need help with. They need the assistance of, the Japanese need the Koreans need the Chinese need the Americans. I think if people could all recognize that fact and learn to accommodate each other's differences and so forth, and learn to work together, yes, the world would be a much better place.
Yeah. And yeah, in America, we as Americans, we need all of them. When it comes to import exports, we all need each other. We're all helping each other to survive. And so I do believe that Hak Chan's and your creation here under Five Flags, it carries a very powerful and positive message. What else about Under Five Flags you would want our viewers to know?
Well, I believe that it's important to understand that countries such as Korea, those who are in the middle of larger, more powerful nations, um, will develop their own identities and culture that is perhaps very defensive and not as useful or productive as if the other larger nations would leave them alone or treat them with more accommodation.
That is true. That is so true. Where can we find, or where can our viewers go to find Under Five Flags?
They can go to Amazon.com and order from there.
Okay, then. Thank you all for joining us for another episode of Books of the Month. I've been your host, Bishop O.C. Pringle. See you next week, same time, same place. God bless you.